Hello, everyone, and welcome to this series of leadership talks. Today, we have with us Vikram. Vikram is working as manager in the space of business intelligence with Amazon. And Vikram has done his BE in mechanical engineering. Then he has done his advanced management program in business analytics from Indian School of Business. He worked with Ashok Leyland and then Cummins in his core area. Within Cummins, he worked in the space of forecasting, in the space of supply chain analytics, and then he joined Amazon. Within Amazon, once again, he was part of demand, capacity planning, building some AI models. Then BI engineer is what he transitioned himself into. And currently, he's working as a manager in the space of business intelligence, global ops, artificial intelligence. Wonderful career you have, I should say, Vikram. And thank you
Thanks,
so
Vikram.
much for pulling off time from your busy schedule and willing to share your experiences. So the first
Absolutely.
question is, Vikram, a lot of people who want to venture into this space of AI, they ask this question on what are a few of the real world projects which
Mhm.
people deal with. We are not aware. Can someone, share those experiences? These kind of requests we keep getting. So would you like to throw some light on that?
Yeah, absolutely. But I love to sort of excited to talk about this, right? So, thanks once again for having me here. It's amazing to sort of share the enthusiasm that you have brought in. So, I'd love to talk through on what we have done. So, I'm part of an or called Global Operations for Artificial Intelligence, which is a subsidy under Amazon Robotics. So, what we primarily focus on is we look out for making we look out for areas or avenues where uh, like we can have warehouse operations a little more efficient by using ML, right? So GoAI has been in this advent for almost say 8 years now, way before AI has been a buzzword, where we've been solving problems at scale with a peak in pandemic, right? What we do is we help in identify, say, a business use case, understand the problem statement, pitch out, a criteria for what constitutes to a pilot, and then hit a threshold on what makes it an general acceptance or a production worthy state, and then provide support for deploying an ML that can help solve that problem. Right? So, if I were to give an example, during the peak of the pandemic, right, uh, it was a very real scenario for us where we couldn't shut down our operations because we were delivering essentials, but at the same time there was a social responsibility to ensure warehouse operations went undisrupted, by ensuring we have a responsibility to keep social distance reduction, but at the scale at which Amazon operates, it's quite a challenge, right? So what we did is we took at, like, that's where GoAI comes in. We identify and say, hey, is there an avenue where we can sort of sample images out of the CCTV footages, and then create a pipeline where we can see if we can identify if there are more than two people in an image, and if the answer is yes, if there are more than two people, are they maintaining social distance, yes or no, right? So we start from a simple problem statement. We need to create a mechanism to ensure we have social distance at scale, leverage ML solution, define the problem statement, break that down, and then take it from a pilot stage. We start by providing the human in the loop annotation, because most of these ML models require intensive data to which starts with annotation. So that's where we also provide the human in the loop support, start with the annotations, and then once we keep feeding the annotations with the accuracy and improvements that we are able to, like the niche use cases that come in, right? We train the model, help it scale. Once we're comfortable, it becomes a full-fledged solution. So GoAI has been at this, and we have almost had around 200, 300 use cases that we have helped by using ML at the scale that Amazon operates in. So we primarily focus on the robotic fulfillment center. Right? So just a brief number is that some of the problems that we handle, right, may not be something that could be, it may be labor intensive if it were to be done independently and individually. That's where it's we kind of come in and pitch in and be the bridge between trying to translate it from a labor intensive to a autonomous and intelligent hive-minded system where we have humans, robots, ML, like hardware, your software, and of course your human, like workforce come into shape and move the objective of the needle, the scale at which we operate. So that's an overview of how we've been handling.
Wonderful. Go AI, that is what you said, right?
Go AI, like Global Operations Artificial Intelligence.
Go AI.
Right.
Okay. And it's a subsidy, and you work in the space of robotics in Amazon. Right. Warehouse operation is one very good example, right?
Yes. Yeah.
You're trying to break the problem into smaller pieces and you're trying to make it very simple.
Yes.
First of all, do we have two people?
Right.
Only then it has to go to the next part of the algorithm.
Yes.
Where you identify whether there is a social distance or not.
Yes.
Right? And you also said annotation. What tools do we use for annotation? And it needs huge amount of human workforce for annotation.
Absolutely.
Right? So how are you coping up with that, Vikram?
Absolutely. So in the same example that you spoke about, right? Like we also have say the difference between where a human in the loop still adds value is like, let's say there could be a scenario where an AI would mark that in an instance where someone is having a plexiglass in between, like in banks you might be seeing, right? So we have a glass layer in between, but as far as the ML is concerned, it will look like they're not maintaining social distance, but as a human, you can quickly identify that hey, there's a glass in between. Of course, the problem is contained, right? So that's where like the niche matters, where human cognizance is still AI is still regurgitates on what it has been trained on, but humans still have that cognitive ability to add that value, right? So that's one use case on how we fit in. Now, as far as the tools and the tech stack that is used for the annotation, so most of what we do is in AWS. We have SageMaker Ground Truth as our labeling or an annotation platform, and we have a native modified version of it built on SageMaker Ground Truth only, which can help track way more curated metrics that can help understand nuances of our accuracy, right? We have a way where we can devise a sampling rate. Like for example, the only way you can identify if I am marking a response, if the response I've marked is accurate or not, by having a check mechanism by sample and audit and then see if another person is marking the same response as well, right? So we use SageMaker Ground Truth as a labeling platform, and most of our ecosystem is built on SageMaker. Built on AWS only, like primarily. We have pipelines that come with triggered like events that come in from the hardware hosted on our software stack in AWS, annotated in the SageMaker Ground Truth, and then we do layers of analytics on top of the dumps of data lakes that we have in the S3 buckets, and build OLAP infrastructure on say through Redshift and our own reporting mechanism on QuickSight or Tableau to see if we are able to break down that business problem, to see if we are inching towards that state of like whether we are meeting the business objective or not. So this is a high level overview of the tech stack that we have.
Wonderful. So nice to know, Vikram. And Vikram, if GenAI tools are on the rise, right?
Yes.
Coding is extensively used, and prompt engineering is at its prime, because the way you prompt and the kind of responses you get will determine how fast you can accomplish your project, right?
Absolutely.
So given all these things are happening on one side, what kind of skills would you see if you were to hire someone in your company who might want to work with you or report to you? What kind of skills would you predominantly look for in a person?
Absolutely. It's a great question, Bharani. This is something I wish someone told me that I would like to sort of pass it along, right? Like as we move. So one thing I see that's happening with the advent of the GenAI tool sets coming, right? We see the bar for technology or technical deployment as such is getting reduced, right? Which is good. So there is a lot of like tools that can help you make that switch. Like I myself am a prime example. I have come in from say a supply chain analytics background, pivoted into forecasting, and then from forecasting I started with forecasting on the kind of jobs on the machine learning's confidence, and that got me close into handling data. And of late I have been building like GenAI solutions on built on Bedrock, primarily trying to cater and automate SOPs for if I were to ask a question on certain process, we have a knowledge base that is custom built, and we can get the answers based on RAG, or we can ask a question and get a SQL that can generate insights also out of it. So throughout my journey, it may seem it has been through various degrees of industries, but one thing is constant is the ability to learn, right? Like we need to uh, like go closer into the problem statement. I think each business has a unique proposition of the problems, and these tools are only going to make it easier to get to that boundary, right? But having and one more thing I am also noticing that I'm seeing as a trend is the barrier between your typical traditional roles, your software developer engineer, your ML engineer, your business intelligence engineer, business analyst. There seems to be a blurring that's happening between the boundaries and the scope of each of these roles with the advent of these tools, right? But one thing is constant is that you need to be trying to work back from the problem that you're trying to solve, which is the most valuable information and input that I could see. And all these tools are going to help you achieve that, provided you're not willing to, you're willing to overlook the boundaries and try to solve the problem. Like you're persistent on trying to understand what that problem is and solve. So that's one thing that I say. And even the traditional interview curves that we have as of now that focus on lead code or hacker rank in the technical space, I'm saying like all those are, I think, a little outdated. Even in my own interviews that I have, I try to inculcate a actual technical problem, give the candidate, make them share their screen on their favorite AI tool, and then ask them to curate on a problem. I give them constraints, I give them the framework of the problem, and ask them to prompt their way out for a solution, right? So we have to face it. Like AI tools are there, and it's we'll also have to keep adapting and evolving, and we need to see someone who has the mindset to adapt and evolve, right? So that's something that I wish someone were to tell me, which I feel has contributed greatly to where I am right now, and I want to pass that also along.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well said, Vikram. Thank you so much for that. So very clearly, you will be looking for someone who has a willingness to learn, because blink of an eye, new things are emerging. And also, since the barriers across the different roles, such as data engineer, data analyst, data scientist, MLOps engineer, etc., is blurring, one has to make use of the tools and ensure that they do end to end, as opposed to
Absolutely.
confining them to only one specific role, because such a role most probably will not exist in the next 1 year or so. Right?
Absolutely.
And
And
what
also,
would
it brings a unique proposition. There seems to be a new trend emerging, something called as a T-shaped skill set. So while at the same time you need to have the breadth of these tools, where your AI tools can cover the breadth, so you don't have to extensively be well versed with a particular type of coding on, say, JavaScript or TypeScript or Python as such, but you still need, you're grounded by the horizon the vertical aspect of it, where you need to go deeper into the subject knowledge that you are. And uh, because most of the times what I also see is that while it becomes easy with the new age tools to deploy completely an entire full stack solution, it doesn't stand the scaling problem, right? Which is where like general enterprise solutions are way different, and they are thriving. They're still not going to go away for a very long time. So that is the T-shaped skill is also something that needs to come back into focus as we are like pushing the boundaries against what is coming up.
absolutely, absolutely, you need to have the breadth and depth into one area which is
Yes,
most exciting for you, because otherwise you'll not enjoy doing the deep dive into
absolutely.
that topic. Yeah, absolutely. And lead code, hacker rank, as you have rightly said, are slightly outdated now.
Yeah,
And also, according to World Economic Forum, 2030 skills, which will be in high demand, are not programming skills any longer.
exactly.
Analytical skills, creative thinking, and systems thinking. So that is
Absolutely.
what the world is talking about Thank you so much, Vikram, for sparing time. Means a lot. And do
Absolutely.
stay in touch, and all the best for your career as well. And your
Absolutely.
inputs would certainly excite and motivate a lot of people, and it will serve as a guiding principle for people who are willing to venture into this space. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me here. It's absolutely an honor and lovely, interacting with you, Bernie. Thank you.
Thank you. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye.
See you. Bye bye.